disgusting.
Year after year, they're left behind on our coastlines and in our rivers, trapping and killing wildlife. They're called ghost nets.
Called that because they are hard to see, but the damage they cause is not hard to see. In Tacoma, along the Puyallup River, King 5's Jeff Gradney reports some people are doing something about these deadly nets.
Up in the tideland area where there's no water.
Dale Temke and these other volunteers love to fish, but today on the banks of the Puyallup, they pursued another passion.
Now this is my team of ghost net removal people.
These are the ghost nets abandoned by fishermen who get them caught up and just leave them behind.
You want to get the stuff out of the habitat so that the seabirds won't get tangled up in them and so that the fish have safe passage to spawning grounds.
Members of the Puyallup tribe have fished here for decades. They were eager to help with this cleanup.
Anything to keep the habitat going, keep our environment safe and clean for everybody.
These nets are in the ground here pretty good. I can just imagine what the salmon and the sea life out here go through when they get caught up out here. It's got to be a total devastation for them.
By mid-cleanup, no one had to imagine anymore. They saw what ghost nets did to a sea otter.
Yeah, this is just disgusting. You know, a lot of this stuff happens and a lot of people don't see it, but being down on the riverbank here, we're getting a good look at it. And this is what happens when we've got stuff like this laying around, so it is good to get it out.
Using a truck to haul out the tougher ones, the volunteers pulled out net after net. It's hard work they're happy to handle to cut down on the damage ghost nets do.
And it feels good. This is excellent. I love seeing this stuff come out. Get these things out, get them cleaned up. We need help doing it, and the more help we get, the more we can get out.
Dale Temke and his volunteers are working with several Native American tribes and other groups to coordinate even more ghost net cleanups. In the King 5 newsroom, I'm Jeff Gradney reporting.
Yeah, Jeff, we saw those volunteers pulling out truckloads of the nets and other trash, too. What did they do with all that stuff?
Well, in this instance, Don, the City of Tacoma's Solid Waste Management Department stepped forward and said, hey, we'll find a way to dispose of those, all of them, for free.
Jeff Gradney, live in the newsroom. Thanks, Jeff. And Son are making American political history.
Politics. State and federal officials say a 6-mile section of the lower Duwamish waterway could become a federal Superfund site because sediment there is contaminated with chemicals. The Environmental Protection Agency is expected to propose the Superfund listing within the next few weeks. The Duwamish flows from Tukwila around Harbor Island and empties into Elliott Bay. State officials say the cleanup could cost anywhere from $20 million to more than $100 million and is expected to take years to complete. Well, researchers with Washington State University and the University of Idaho plan to release a study next month that says genetic abnormalities in salmon may be a factor in their declining numbers. The Center for Reproductive Biology and its director, Michael K. Skinner, says they still can't solve the problem but hope to point it out.
Ghost nets, not a figment of the imagination, but devices actually floating out in the ocean and along our coastline, trapping and killing all kinds of animals. A few weeks ago, we showed you dramatic pictures of the damage ghost nets are causing our environment. Well, tonight, King 5's Deborah Feldman shows us an effort now underway to get rid of at least a few of these things.
These men spend much of their lives in and around the water. But today, they're not reeling fish in. Instead, they're volunteering their time and energy to keep them free.
The important thing is just to get it out of here.
Their mission here is to cut loose and dispose of several large commercial fishing nets recently discovered on a tidal flat.
Probably the easiest way to go about this, at least in my experience, is just to take a pair of scissors and just
A local sport fisherman, Dale Temke, found them.
These nets, the most important thing here is that we have endangered fish. And as these fish migrate into the habitat, this is stopping our endangered fish.
Educating the public about these abandoned nets, many call them ghost nets, is one of Temke's passions. He's documented some of his finds, including this net that trapped and killed seals, otter, and seabirds. This video helped him convince a diverse group to join him in getting rid of at least a few of the nets he's found.
I'm getting there, John.
Many are members of the Kitsap County Pogie Club, a group of recreational fishermen.
I don't want to get my hand in there.
Yeah.
The men are armed only with scissors and knives.
Can you imagine a critter in here?
And a good dose of determination.
Is it a knife, Ray?
The sport fishermen are joined by members of the Audubon Society, representatives of nearby fishing tribes, even a Fish and Wildlife officer to monitor all the activity.
It can be an enforcement nightmare because generally abandoned nets are unmarked, and they're hard to determine whose nets they are.
The volunteer perhaps most affected by this experience is Kevin George, a member of the Suquamish tribe and a fisherman who used gill nets like this one for several years.
That's why I'm here, is because I know the magnitude. I've traveled all over and I've been everywhere fishing, and you know, I've seen the devastation and I've seen these nets everywhere, and it's really appalling.
Hey, look at this!
The work is hard. It takes nearly a dozen men to cut the tangled net from the abandoned barge.
Oh, big fish! We got it!
Further down the beach is another net. This one is smaller, but it looks a lot more deadly.
Disgusting.
Repulsive.
This net is full of decomposing fish and sea life.
We have a survivor in the net. CPR, quick!
The men do what they can, cutting free a few crabs still clinging to life.
There we go. We've saved a critter.
Unlike the bigger net, this one has a buoy still attached with the name of its owner written on it.
We'll contact this individual, hopefully through the tribe, and see if we can't find out what happened here.
Have not witnessed something as awful. I think it's such a sad commentary that these things happen. It doesn't matter where the source is. That shouldn't happen.
Let's see what we got here.
The sight of these nets is depressing, but Kevin George is leaving this spot feeling hopeful for the first time in a long time.
It really feels good. It really does, knowing that, you know, that we're making an effort, and it's not just any one individual. We have a consortium of people here that represent a lot of different folks.
People with differing backgrounds, but a common goal.
All together agreeing on, let's get this stuff out of the water.